If you want to stay up to date with all current hip hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to become part of this community.
So recently I've been making these videos talking about albums that we're still waiting for, but that we just didn't get any more info on, or that just never ended up dropping. I've already talked about Kanye's Donda album, I've talked about Drake's Certified Lover Boy, and another album that immediately comes to mind when thinking about something that we're still waiting for that hasn't dropped yet, that we thought was going to drop so many times, is of course J. Cole's The Off Season and The Fall Off, or whatever the order of these two will be. I kind of want to go over the history of these and then give my take on what I think the status of the release date and the release and the album in general, or the project, because in the case of The Off Season it's a mixtape, really is, and if we're still getting it, So this all started back when J. Cole announced that there was something coming called The Fall Off. He did a show in Las Vegas, and he had like a little slideshow that said, "Vote for The Fall Off in 2020." So we all thought we were going to get his next album titled The Fall Off in 2020. This was all after he dropped KOD in 2018, and then we of course expected something going forward from that. Then he announced that there was going to be something called The Off Season. We know this from a screen, like an announcement on in his video for the album of the year freestyle, that was posted to World Star Hip Hop, and it basically announced something called The Off Season, and we basically knew that it was a mixtape. He later then also created a Spotify playlist called Where the F is the Off Season, so it was like, there was something called The Off Season coming too. So we had these two entities. We had The Fall Off, we had The Off Season, and we just never knew what was up with it. And then recently, or beginning of the year, he took to Instagram to announce that there was this whole fall off era. And under this fall off era, he counted his feature run in 2018, 2019. He counted then Revenge of the Dreamers 3, which already dropped in the summer of 2019. Then we have The Off Season, then we have It's a Boy, and then we have The Fall Off. And our theory was always, if you've been following the channel for a while, you know that in my community and on this channel, we've been talking about this for a long time. And it was always a theory that The Off Season was going to be the mixtape that's dropping next. Then It's a Boy, it's something that we're not really sure of. It could be the birth of his next child, and that's kind of a next step in his life that he counts, under this fall off era. Or it could be a project from his alter ego, Kill Edward, that we've seen appear on KOD, which is kind of Cole in a pitched up vocal state, and that he's been wanting to do something with for a long time. And Kill Edward already has like a reference track on Spotify, so we know that it's like official. And then The Fall Off would be the big studio album that we're all waiting for. And this has kind of been the theory. And something that I've talked about in the past too are several release date theories that, would predict a release of The Off Season. We had one that was very convincing, and that I still can't believe that this didn't end up happening. On the cover for the album of the year freestyle, we can see a sign in the background that in the video kind of lists or states the arrival times of the school buses in that area that Cole was recording the video in. But in the cover, it was changed to dates, or to numbers that could be interpreted by dates, and one of them was actually the release date of Revenge of the Dreamers 3, which we only, kind of picked up afterwards because we couldn't, we just thought they were random numbers. And then the other one would actually have put a release date in February of this year, or of any February, and we thought that, The Off Season was going to drop in February. But it didn't. And now that, of course, we could get it next year in February, which I think he wouldn't do because that's still such a long time. And we know that he's been wanting to do something with The Fall Off in 2020, even if it was just the era. But come on. Probably was going to be the album, but then the pandemic hit and all that. So, there's something still coming, and we just don't know if it's going to be this year or, next year. Now, something that could actually imagine being true is that he's really going to wait till next year. But we are getting something this year for sure. I think we're going to get the off season still this year, even if it'll be later on in the year. I haven't given up hope on this yet. We're probably going to get It's a Boy. It's a Boy will probably not be a high profile release that is going to promote to the death of it. And then maybe the Fall Off will drop next year in February. That's kind of my theory. Now, of course, he could also wait completely till next year to drop anything new, which would of course still be a long time. But in the case of Cole, I'm always like, if him taking this little bit of time to really sit down and perfect whatever he's doing, especially if it's something this special in his career that he's been now teasing and planning and scheming for such a long time, then I'd rather have him take another year and really do this right and do this to its fullest potential and to its fullest extent. KOD was kind of disappointing for some people. I also thought it was not as to the point, as consistent and precise as some of his older stuff, especially compared to 2014 Forest Hills Drive or For Your Eyes Only. Many of you know For Your Eyes Only is my favorite J. Cole record. So I am expecting something big. Now, that single he had, Middle Child, of course, was immense. It was huge. It was everywhere. And it ended up on Revenge of the Dreamers 3, kind of to push sales in a way. But I still think that if Cole really, took that same energy and put it into an album, The Fall Off, or a mixtape, then he could really move something. And I think Cole could really have one of the biggest releases in hip-hop in 2020 if he decided to drop the off season, even compared to someone like Drake or Kendrick. He can really, I think he could size them up. So I'm excited for Cole in 2020. I still think we're going to get the off season, even if it's later on in the year. Maybe there was something surrounding the release that just, didn't click in time or didn't work out in time. But as I said, I'd rather have him take his time and, really do this right. I have faith in Cole. I think he's someone that knows very well what he's doing and is very well aware of kind of his place in hip-hop, and he's been planning this. We've seen him sketch the whole thing out, the Fall Off era with all these different elements. So for him to really plan something like this, now 5 years ahead, I think he knows what he's doing, and I still have faith in this coming. Let me know what you think about this. Do you still think we're going to get something from Cole this year? If it's the off season, It's a Boy, or the Fall Off? And when do you think it'll be this year, now that the February date didn't come true? Let me know in the comments down below.
If you watched this video to the end and liked it, and you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, hit that like button, and go follow my social media and blog down in the description. It really helps me out. Until the next one, y'all have an incredible day, and y'all take care.